Chase, we are actually doing what we said we would do this week. We are recording the 456th episode of the Casual Hour at 9 p.m.
for everything.
on January 28th on Twitch and YouTube, just like the schedule said on Monday. We didn't have any weird pivots tonight. We decided that the podcast was still worthy of doing, unlike other things on our schedule this week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, happy High Guard release week to you. I'm sure you're loving it. As the
I don't think anybody's having a happy High Guard release week.
Well, there's 20,000 people on Steam that say it's a mostly negative experience, and There's varying degrees of hate in the comments, if you can imagine it, but it does sound like a very big, unfortunate, because again, this is more than likely, and I don't know, like I'm just looking at what's been happening the last several years, a rise and fall of a could have been studio, and standing above it will be the bloody hands of Jeff Keighley. This is on you, my friend. But if High Guard was something you were looking forward to and let down by, and you're like, Bobby, Chase, help me, I need new things to play, we've got you covered. We've been playing quite a bit here at the Casual Hour, and we're going to dive into it. Some really cool stuff, some questionably cool stuff, and some grossly cool stuff. So we'll give you a little bit of everything tonight at the expense of my, I guess, my betterment and judgment on things here. I don't quite know. I've been busy, Chase. You've been putting up with me being busy. I appreciate you for that. I've played a new video game called Arknights Infield, and I don't know how I found it, because you certainly didn't tell me about it on our monthly preview episode. So
I did not.
I was surprised to find that a video game existed not on that list, and I was even more so to be surprised that there's a video game that had a lot of anime women in it that exist and you didn't tell me about.
Bobby, if I listed every game that had anime women in it, we would never be finished with the.
We would be too hot for TV, is what we would be. All right.
We're not even on TV.
We're on twitch.tv. This isn't TV. This is HBO. All right. So Arknights Infield is the next gacha game in a long series of very similar video games. What year was that we got the big one? What you know which one I'm talking about? It would have been. It was like 2017, right? Because this is the Genshin Impact looked like Breath of the Wild. There was like some very big conversations that ended up not being that. That was 2017, I think. I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right.
PS4 and mobile. It wasn't on Switch at the time. It wasn't on Xbox at the time. Anyway,
this is saying 2020, but that's not right.
No, there's no way. We played this. We talked about it at your apartment.
That has to be like one version of.
Yeah, more than likely. This is a gacha game, but it is different enough from those other ones, not in its predatory nature, but in its mechanics. It is a very fascinating mishmash of genres. Do you know anything about Arknights? Because I think Arknights is an ongoing series, and this is just a variation or a divergent path of that story, a sub story, if you will.
I know nothing about Arknights.
Well,
there's so many anime gacha kind of things that I can't keep up with all of them.
I get it. All right, so this is a gacha game. You can play this right now on PlayStation. You can play it on mobile. You can play it on Windows. I'm assuming you can play it on Xbox. I think it's on everything right now, but I don't think it's on the Switch. Maybe, probably not. This is a squad-based game. There's 4 people that you can have in your party at any given time. You are doing the character pulls. You're doing the weapon pulls. But the crazy thing about this game is it is a full-on like base building factory automation game that has on top of it some very competent, flashy, and really fun combat mechanics that you are building some incredible team synergies. So it's not a turn-based video game. This is an action RPG. You are dealing both physical and elemental depending on the characters that you have in your party. And you are leveling them up. You are adding attributes to them. There is skill trees that you can unlock for these characters. They do all kind of have like, especially the 5 and 6 star tiered characters have kind of like named weapons they can get to round out the build. But it's all about mapping out like these cooldowns and really just executing kind of engines on these builds. So I got lucky enough to get like what is considered the meta team builder, which is Last Right. And she is a dual-handed, big-ass sword, cryo damage dealing character that does a lot of just like single-person damage on the field, like big number damage, which is a ton of fun. Her ability is just to kind of buff herself up to do this. But what's crazy about it is that if you have the right party members, you can prime up these attacks that she does in a really inventive way. And like I could basically get almost, if I can get everything timed out, bigger or like mid-tier bosses I've been able to clear like in just one execution loop of this turn. So I have another character that is acting more elemental electrical. They'll prime, then the target will inherit the next elemental. So I can use the cryo build, and I have another character that does like healing and support that kind of hypes up my character with more cryo. And then it just gets really fucking nasty very quick. But all that's fun. Like I'm having a really good time with it. You counter like enemies out in the wild. The questing has been okay, and there's usually good opportunity to get gear to go back and trade up or, you know, pull more shit with. But the factory stuff is really kind of blowing my mind. And the fact that I play a ton of these games.
Shocker.
Well, yes, to the surprise of nobody who knows the show, that I like a factory game. But what's crazy about it is some of the stuff that this game does from a quality of life and just like intelligence standpoint that I don't see in like games that are being built as factory automation only. And this game does some really cool shit about giving you quests about you need to go collect this stuff and figure out how to manufacture and export it to get credit to go and like upgrade and do all this other shit I was just telling you about. That's kind of like the loop of the game. But here's where it gets neat. Like if you've seen any factory game, it kind of looks like spaghetti sometimes because you need this to be a conveyor belt that goes to this, and it's just very overwhelming.
Everything's conveyor belts, yeah, or pneumatic tubes or whatever, yeah.
This is really cool because if you come across a patch of like an ore that you can mine, you can set up the right equipment, and it does everything wireless in the game. So you go and build out kind of like a core of the factory, and it's an intake, and that's where it stores all this shit. And so all the stuff that would supplement your factory, you don't have to worry about putting all the conveyor belts everywhere. You just select the destination and it automatically sends it there. So then you go back to your actual base, and that's where you're doing all of your conveyor belts in and out, and you're building and filling. And that's how you make your medication. That's how you can make your buffs. And so you're making gear that you would take into battle at your factory, but you're also exporting that out. And so you can like, it's like the hybrid for me because I love a good action RPG. I like having characters that you level up. I like doing all that shit in the party. And I love a factory game. So I can get bored of one of those. I'm like, all right, cool. I've had my fill of that. I'm going to go work on the factory for a bit. And then, oh, I need this weapon or I need this thing. So I'm going to go and do this. The writing's garbage. It's trying so hard, I think, to crib on Kojima. So the game is called Arknights Infield. And you are an end administrator or an endman to your friends instead of an admin. And
Sure.
and stop me if you've heard this before, but you're a protagonist that's woken up with an amnesia and you have no idea who you are and what you do.
That's a very original concept.
That's what's going on here. So you're going around trying to figure out, I'm at the point now where I've just remembered myself. So it sounds like this is very common that there's these loops with your character where you come in and out of knowing who you are, and your crew is basically taking you through this stuff. So I just remembered who I was, and now I'm like getting some more shit with the factory. You don't want to play this for a lot of reasons, but I think that this one feels, so I've played a handful. I did Genshin Impact. I did Zoneless Zen Zero, and I like that one quite a bit too. Like that felt really cool, had a really good style. This feels mechanically just very competent. It's incredibly dense. It's got a hell of an onboarding, but they do a good job of just like walking you through what you need to always come back to. And you unlock recipes in your factory by doing the tutorial, which is really helpful. So it kind of slows you down to learn the mechanics. It's something else, man. It's a weird thing that I did not expect to play. It came out, I think, January 22nd or 23rd. And I haven't pulled any data on it, but I think it's doing very well based off some of the stuff I'm seeing out there.
I'm sure it is. And Arknights is I don't know a ton about Arknights, but Arknights is a long running franchise.
Yeah.
It started with like a tower defense gacha game, if I'm remembering right. So I'm sure there's some new characters in here. Maybe the character you're playing as is new, but I imagine there's also a lot of returning characters from that. So they have a lot of things to pull from and an audience that's built in for something like that. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Um, it's so disheartening, and I say this as a guy who's, I guess, technically still playing 3 gacha games. I still play Fire Emblem
Yeah, I
Heroes.
was going to ask if you were.
Um, I'm playing SD Gundam G Generation Eternal, and like so far not really putting any money into these things, which is nice. At least not for a very long while. And then it's I don't count it as a gacha because I literally have put $0 in it. But the Pokemon card game
Oh,
is
sure.
uh is still
It's got like
popping.
it's shaped like a gotcha game at least.
Sure. I mean, you can put
Yeah.
real money into that game, and a lot of people certainly do, but I have not, so it kind of doesn't feel like a gotcha to me. The mechanics there kind of just still let you collect the cards. Also, by the way, they added random battles to that,
Oh,
which
weird.
it's not like random solo battles. So you go into a solo battle, so you're not playing against anybody, but you don't know what you're going to go up against. You know, when you played Pokemon TCG Pocket, and you'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, this is like a fire deck, so you should
Oh,
use your
yeah.
water deck. Now they'll just go bring a deck in, and we'll pit you against a random computer controlled deck, and you got to deal with it. So you actually can make decks that aren't just completely countering whatever thing you're playing. So that's kind of cool. And they also released another new set today. So that's still going. Anyway, the point I really wanted to make is that it sucks that we live in a world where the because these gotchas are the ones that make all the real money,
Mm-hmm.
is that you get so many games that are being built as gotchas despite having really good underpinnings to what the games are. You know, it
Yeah.
sounds like the Arknights Enfield, is that what you
Yeah.
said? It sounds like that is a really well-made video game.
It is.
And it's just a shame that a game like that is going, hey, by the way, you should throw me $5. You should
Dude,
throw me $5. Like, have
totally.
you thrown me $5 yet? And that sucks.
That
Sucks
does
that
suck.
all of these games have to end up doing this now because they just feel like that's the only way to be successful. But it's also interesting in that we've gotten to a point with gacha games where they can't just be pretty JPEG anime ladies anymore because we have so many of them. They've flooded the market so much that people are demanding them to be actually good games, weirdly enough. So now you're getting both the terrible gacha mechanics and the dark patterns and all that shit, but you're also getting a pretty solid game underneath. And it makes it difficult for people to write them off entirely. And on one hand, that's good. Like, hey, it's getting people to play good games now instead of just the dreck that we've had before. But also, it's now that they're good games, maybe we're getting even more sucked into those dark patterns sometimes.
I did do one other stupid thing because of this game.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. This is again.
Did you get an anime statue, Bobby? Hold up your anime statue. Oh God, that's even worse.
Yeah, it does.
Is that a Backbone?
No, this one's made by GameSir. They make a bunch of other controllers. This thing is fucking stout. It's Bluetooth. You can play it wirelessly with an iPad if you want to, and it just does like low latency on your phone. But Hall effect joysticks, all the buttons are there, feel great. It's got actual like grips on the shit and back. It has vibration motors in it. You got 2 extra buttons on the back of it. I got it for that because I'm an idiot, but I've wanted one of those again for a little while. There's some cool, like, you can play Red Dead Redemption on your phone, and there's some nights where I just want to fuck around on my phone downstairs, and having that down, I brought it up here, but it's usually down by the big TV where we're at. Sure. So anyway, and I have NVIDIA GeForce Now, so if I ever wanted to like stream a game to it, I could.
Well, Bobby, let me know when you start playing Goddess of Victory Nikkei. And
what's the next one? What was the one last year at the Game Awards? Everybody was losing their mind. Like Withering Winds. Is that the big one?
The fuck if I know, man.
That's the one that people were like, this should have been Game of the Year. And I'm like, I've literally never heard of you.
I don't want to talk about things that were talked about at the Game Awards.
That's fair. Well, there was a couple games that I'm playing here that I do not think are at the Game Awards, so we're safe to talk about them. But
All right.
Chase, when I say the word Hytale to you, does that do anything? Do you know anything about that word?
I don't think so. No.
All right, I'm going to give you kind of
Other than we need to hightail it out of here.
There you go. This is a fucking fascinating story that even if you don't like what the game I'm going to describe to you, there's something very impressive about this. So let me give you a very brief miniature deep dive. Hytale came from the largest at the time, I think it was like 2015, Minecraft server. And it was ran by these two dudes that had been building mini games and like building RPG mechanics into the game, like actual questing and the idea was you would go into this server, play around while you waited for your friends to join your server. It was always a place you could go to. It got wildly popular. Biggest one at the time. It's like peak Minecraft. Notch and all of them decided, you know what? Like, we're going to change our EULA. And if you are a server that affects gameplay, you can no longer monetize. And that kind of like shut them down to the point where they're like, You know what, though? Like, we have something here that is distinctly different enough from Minecraft. We're going to go make a game. They start out, they announced the new studio. They're building Hytale. All this shit's coming through. Around 2020, Riot Games acquired the studio. And Riot Games was like, okay, cool. We're going to fund into it. You should enhance the engine making this thing. And at the time of that, they're like, cool, we're going to do it. Well, that really delayed progress, rewriting the whole game.
Sure.
To the point where Riot canceled it. So fast forward a few more years, they go through all the legalese shit and they become independent. They buy back their own studio from Riot Games. They go back to a prior build of this game, Hytale, and they launched it in early access. They brought it back from the dead, became independent, and launched their dream game. And it is fucking awesome. You know how much I like Minecraft. So if you look at this, it's going to feel like Minecraft. It's going to look like Minecraft. But holy shit, this is I've never really understood your passion and just excitement. Like, I appreciate it, and I support you because we do this thing, and you're my friend, best friend, and I want to make you happy. But when you talk about these modded Pokemon games, I'm like, yeah, but like Pokemon's good. Like Pokemon's cool. I don't know why you need to do this shit to it.
Because I ran out of Pokemon games to play. So
well, I get it now. It's like, I think Minecraft is still good, but it feels like it's lost some of the creative passion that it once had. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, this is what would have happened, you know, like if Minecraft was getting the effort it deserved. And it does feel that way. There's so many quality of life things here that just feel modern. The graphics look great, even from that standpoint. But what's more impressive is the studio coming back to life. They say, we want to build this game with our community. And so this game it's already got like 2.8 million copies sold, and it's got an amazing mod community already. And he's basically like, hey, I don't want to use redstone like Minecraft, but as a community, let's build like physics-based automation for that stuff that you can go and like do some crazy shit with it. The cave structures are like it's insane what you're getting, just like the layers that you can go up and down through it, the sense of wow and discovery. It all feels fresh and very familiar because if you've played Minecraft, you know how to play this game. And a lot of people have played Minecraft, but this feels very mature. Like, even if you jump up 4 blocks, you can like grab and like kind of pull yourself up now on stuff, which is really wild to see. The combat, you have like block and parries now. You can have a bunch of different weapons, from dual daggers to magic. They just updated with necromancy, so you can raise all these skeletons around you, go into the cave with all of them. That's really fucking cool. Dude, this thing is insanely good. And they've already kind of rolled out what they're going to be doing next, and they've added a preview server. So if you go into creative mode, there's a portal you go into. It's like, hey, this is the build we're working on. You can go walk around in this portal if you want to, but you can't stay. Which, what a cool concept. So Hytale, what a thing. Had no idea about it up until this point. And I've sunk a ton of time into it and just really having a great time.
It's cool to see these devs. This just is the latest example, I guess, but devs that will start with mods
Mm-hmm.
and just learn how games work that way. You know, people who made Doom wads back in the day, or people who just built levels for games, or even, you know, especially when they are more mod tools. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I remember, you know, back in the day making Advance Wars maps in the game, which they allow you to
Sure.
do, or making Tony Hawk like skate parks
Forge and
with
Halo.
the sure. Forge and Halo is another great one as well, where you you show some aptitude, you learn enough tricks, and then you do either in this case it's the game saying, we're not going to let you do this anymore, and you go, well, screw it, I can make my own video game. Or you get the bug of, you know, what do I need to limit myself with these guys anymore? I could go ahead and make my own game. And it's really cool to see people make that jump and become developers themselves. It's another reason why I feel so conflicted about something like Roblox,
Yeah.
in that yes, it's certainly a way that an entire generation of game developers, or people who are making games at the very least, are being born and being brought into that ecosystem. And at the same time, something like Roblox is also uh, trying to keep them in that ecosystem, and sometimes trapping them in that way, where I don't know if they necessarily get the skills to be able to say, okay, well, now I'm going to make something in Unity or Unreal Engine or whatever, instead of just going, well, I can just make another thing in Roblox. And we know that Roblox, you know, is taking their cut and, you know,
Oh
basically doing
yeah.
child labor at some points. um, but this is a great story. Really, really cool to see something like that, and have people respond to it really nicely. So good on
I
them.
agree. I agree. And maybe I'll show it to you on a Monday night. Like, just like, this is what the game is, this is what it looks like. Here's some cool shit, show you my build, and
Yeah.
go from
I
there.
mean, I've told you, if I had played Minecraft or touch Minecraft even today, I know I would be lost, and that would be the only thing I play for probably
That's
ever.
that's kind
Uh,
of where I'm at right now with this. Is it's very dangerous because, I mean, we've talked, like, I lost myself to Minecraft back in the
yeah,
day.
and I imagine this game would probably do the same thing to me. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna stay away.
Yeah.
But not
It,
because it's bad,
yeah.
probably because it's good.
It's early access PC. I have no idea. Like, it has no controller support right now, but that was pretty common for Minecraft at the time too. I would imagine this thing could get released out there. Who's to say? I have no idea. It's
Sure, but it also doesn't sound like they're in any hurry. Like
no.
they found their community right now. They're continuing to build that game with that community. It doesn't seem like something where 1.0 makes that game more popular than it is right now.
Yep.
So just let it cook. Let them figure out what they want to do with it. Good
They
on them.
they sent
That's
a
a cool
big note
story.
out. They basically said, like, hey, by the way, because of our success and because of your early access backing, and they like said, like, you've been able to fund our studio for the next 5 years guaranteed. And like, that's really cool that like one day they kind of got all that stuff back, which is super exciting. They're hiring on a few more people. Sounds like they're scaling smartly and doing some stuff right. So you always love to see it. We talk a lot of doom and gloom about the industry, but this is a bright moment of like, hey, go back and be independent. Like, there's a lot of studios we would like to talk about more that we probably could had they had an independence today. But one more game for you, Chase. This is one that I think you will appreciate a lot from a distance. I don't know if this is enough to get you to play it, but
Yeah.
Memories in Orbit, or Mio, as you might have seen it. We did cover this game. This is a doozy of a style entry for 2026.
Oh yeah, it looks gorgeous.
It's awesome. But it is a Metroidvania. Now, I will tell you, I do not think that this is as punishing, hard, or punitive as a Silk Song or a Hollow Knight or any of
Sure.
those. Like, it lives probably, if you have Ori over here and you've got Hollow Knight over here, I would say this is firmly in between the two of them as far as story and mechanics and difficulty when you play it.
Is Ori a historically easy video game?
I don't think it's easy, but
Okay.
I'm just saying that this is, Ori also didn't feel like, I don't think some of the bosses were like Hollow Knight bad. And I personally felt, at least especially in the second Ori game, it was more about like the exploration and just using those abilities to go further. And you would fight, of course, but
Yeah, but like Ori wasn't meant to be punishing Dark
No,
Souls style stuff in
no,
the way that Hollow Knight was.
right.
But from the things I would always see with Ori are the end of Metroid style things where you were up against some kind of time limit or the screen was pushing against you and you had to continue platforming in a really difficult way. I mean, I've certainly played some Metroidvanias and have enjoyed them.
Yeah,
Both Metroid games and Vania games,
yeah.
and something like Guacamelee and something like Gato Roboto. Like I can enjoy these games, but
Guacamelee
it
is
is
so good.
generally just not a genre I'm a big fan of. But you're right. The doing the preview, looking at the style of this game, the graphics and the art team that they're putting into this, it is very intriguing. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to listen more about
yeah.
what's got hold of you on this one.
I mean, immediately I was taken in visually, and just not only that, but like there's a score with it, and there is a ton of care. Like there's some stakes you feel in the story. It's like very gripping on what you're dealing with, and your character is a robot or an android, one or the other, and it's brought to life at the beginning. And anytime you get that, there's a sequence where like the game goes into um it looks very like Atari almost, but like smooth and updated, where it's like all line art and the way that like a Tetris effect background would like kind of pulse with the beats and do stuff. So when you're in the system, and that's how you're like getting your upgrades and learning some of the story beats, it's really fucking impressive. This reminds me a little bit of like Celeste when it comes to like its movement and just like the twitchiness of how you would navigate through some of these things. And it reminds me a lot of Citizen Sleeper and just like the things that it's tackling so far and the way that it's talking the story and some of the character designs are it's very different art, but there's a lot of care and detail. So the robots are almost like some of them are like insects in a way, the way that they move and come out of like these pipes, and they just do some really crazy shit with that, which I find very appealing. But the thing here that people will probably be gravitated towards is like, how does this game feel combat wise? What are some of the mechanics that make it stand out? So the hub or the respawn point, you are finding cores, and those cores have abilities in them, and they have points. So I think by default you start with like a cap of, you have 30 points that you can max out before you can't function. And you're picking things up that are going to be like, hey, this one's only 5 points to use, this one's 10, this one's actually 20 points to use. So you're trying to upgrade your character by finding this in-game currency that you will lose upon death. So you lose it to the pond, and you cannot get it back. So that is a kind of a shitty thing. But what they've done is spread out through the world. There's a robot that solidifies this currency. And if you do that and pick it up, it's safe. So it can be spent the same way, but it's not fluid right away. And you're good. You're safe. And that's made it much easier for me, is like, I know where one of those is at. If I'm doing pretty good and I've got a lot of currency, I'm going to go bank it, because I'm going to go and upgrade some of those slots, expand my storage, and do that shit. I like the tinkering of, maybe I don't need to see an enemy health bar right now. Maybe I need a little bit more damage protection because I'm fighting a boss. So I'm going to swap those out and make that kind of trade-off, because they're equally the same cost, but this thing will die when it dies. I don't need to know how close it is. But other times I want to have that piece and go from there and do those things.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice quality of life cosmetic to have, and it can be
Yeah.
a very useful tactical tool to know how much health the enemy has. But you're right, when you're in like a big boss fight, you're just like, I need to just lock in and figure out its patterns, and it really doesn't matter how much health it has. I just need to keep doing it.
Totally. And so your basic mechanics here, you have a really cool hairpin move that acts also as like a grapple. So you can use that to pull yourself up and kind of rocket a higher jump with it. And I just unlocked this other thing where now there's these flowers. So if I do one of those and I hit the flower, it resets the cooldown. So you're just like daisy chaining, never touching the ground, and like really there's a verticality to where you're exploring. The map's decent. Like you can drop pins on there. You can't take screenshots like other games that I think did that better. But the big thing here is that there's a really cool story about awakening the heart of this thing, and it's all androids, and there's obviously something about you that they're trying to like have you go and do stuff. The combat's good. I've gotten through a lot of the big bosses, and that's been fun. I think I've cleared 4 of them now, and I'm at one that's being kind of a dick to get to. But the game opened up after the first 3 bosses, and then it's like, okay, you need to figure out why the eyes, the hands, the nervous system are not working, and those are each a boss that you have to go to. And so I'm at the point now where I'm going to the blood for the first time. And the blood's very interesting because you get to the community and everybody loves the blood, but the blood has been corrupt. And so the blood is now washed over this community, and they still like it because it's keeping them warm, but this thing's fucked up because heart and other shit, the heart's all fucked up. So there's some cool stuff about what they're doing to do this, and the design of these robots, like these big bosses, are really cool. Game's $20, I think. $20. I know it's on Switch. It's on Xbox, PlayStation. I think it's on all the stuff. It plays very well in a handheld. If you have a Steam Deck or a Switch, I imagine it'll do great. I think it's on the Switch. I'm pretty sure it's on the Switch.
I thought it was. Let me check to make sure, but you keep talking.
No. I the thing with Metroidvania is okay, cool. Here's my thing. Like, I play a lot of Metroidvanias, but I don't stick with a lot of Metroidvanias.
Sure.
And I'm feeling very compelled to stick with this one. Cave Story stands out to me as a big one. I did love Guacamelee. I really liked that.
You finished Cave Story?
Yeah.
Nice.
Back on the Switch when it hit the Switch. That was my first time playing it.
Very cool.
Yep. So I really loved Cave Story, and I think that Prince of Persia Metrovania that you and I did like a quick look and checked out, I think that's one of the best modern Metroidvanias in a long, long time. Of course, Metroid Dread was a recent one that I really dug too. Metroid Primes were fun, but
I liked Carrion. I know
you
I know some
did like that one.
bored of that really quickly, but I really enjoyed Carrion, especially a game where it felt like you were a lot more in control than you being the aggressor.
Yeah.
Felt really cool and different than most of the Metroidvania games I've played. But yeah, it's a genre that can do cool things for sure. It's just sometimes it's rough for me.
Yeah, I think save points, like let me solidify my upgrade stuff, like that's really helpful. So like if again, like I don't need kid gloves, but what I need is just consideration that like you should give agency to the end user. Like, hey, this is the way that we intend for you to play it. We recognize that might not work for your lifestyle that you lead. If you're just trying to casually play a game and explore and feel a sense of accomplishment, like we're not going to penalize you as much. So here's some extra save points. Here's a way to maintain and have carryover persistency with some of that currency. Like I think corpse runs are for the fucking birds, man. Like I just don't see, I don't see any appeal to having to go back and find your souls or any of that shit. Like that's a bummer to me. Like let me get good at what I need to get good at without making me feel set back longer because I need to be good to get the stuff. It's just, and Metroidvanias, I think this is a hot take, internet, so clip it, chat. I might be cooked here as an unk, as the kids would say, but
I hate all of this.
It's not good. Being an unk, definitely not a good thing. I think Dark Souls, while maybe it has influenced positively in other parts of video games, I think the Metroidvania genre adopting more of the punitive nature, and again, like Rogue's a tough game. Roguelikes, you could argue, do the same thing here. But I think Dark Souls has had a net negative influence over Metroidvanias as a genre, personally speaking.
I tend to agree. You know my biggest pet peeve in video games and honestly life is wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons I'm just not a big Dark Souls fan. I feel like there's so much wasted time when you lose your souls and you're not able to go back and retrieve them. And like, sure, you're getting experience in your own mind and maybe that is useful for you and maybe that's a sort of progress, but for me it's always felt like just being set back to zero. And a lot of Metroidvanias do a similar kind of thing, both in that Dark Souls tint that you're talking about, but also a lot of those games are backtracking and continuing to go through this same space that you've been in 100 times, and now you're just looking for the little pixel that goes, oh, I can get in here now. I found a little tool that helps me get in there.
Oh yeah.
But did you remember that you needed to get in there from 40 hours ago? And like you said, that Prince of Persia game did a really good job of allowing you to take screenshots and remember, hey, I need to come back here, making little notes of that. But so many of those games, I feel like I have just keep walking around a castle or a cave and going, there's something here I'm supposed to find eventually, but I'm just kind of sitting here going, where the fuck do I go? And that waste of time
And
really burns me up. So it's just not a genre I vibe with very much.
before you all come with your pitchforks for Chase and I, like, I know Metroidvania were inspired by Metroid. I know Metroid was incredibly hard, but it wasn't punitive in the way that some of the mechanics are with bonfires and progression loss. Like, Metroid was tough because you had to explore the unknown and you had to be good at the enemies and the boss battles and the platforming in it. And that stuff's present in these games. But I just feel the progression systems that they've implemented in some of these games, directly inspired by some of those in Dark Souls, are just, there's other inventive ways to challenge your end user than that, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they're there. Like, we should have diversity. Like, it's funny that Metroidvanias now have subgenres the same way survival games do, and everything's, divergent in that regard. But Mio Memories in Orbit is what it's called, is a good one of these. It seems to be doing pretty well. A lot of hot takes out there about, like, the first big game of the year, contender of the year. I think that's a little premature, but it is very well done. It's very, very cool to watch in motion. $20, a lot of video game here for $20 for sure. So big endorsement from me. I'm enjoying it.
Well, speaking of big, Bobby, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Big Hops, which right now is my 2026 game of the year, and not just because it's the only 2026 video game I've played so far this year.
Yeah, it's really good, man. I have not been back to it the last week for other stupid reasons, but I am not because I dislike it. I thoroughly like that game, and I think I'm like halfway through it. From what I think,
I am at the halfway point from looking through a walkthrough of just saying what the levels are, and I gotta say, I wish it was a little bit shorter. I wish I was kind of wrapping the game up right now instead of just being about halfway through. But I also know that part of that is my own fault, because I am continually looking for all the little secrets and trying to do things, because I just find it to be really fun. Mm-hmm. If you didn't listen to us talk about this game, what was it, last week? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about this last week. This is a platformer. 3D platformer in the vein of a Mario 64, but it's just got some really smart design to it. There's a lot of freedom of movement of your character, where it feels a lot like a 3D Mario game and that moveset. But they've also found ways of doing things that are slightly different, or slight tweaks on things. You have a slide that you use with the character. You're a frog, so you have a big tongue that you can go and latch onto things like a kind of hook shot thing or a slingshot way, and they just do some interesting things with the movement, and I've really been enjoying that. But also, I've been surprised at how much of a story it's telling, and how
it's got a lot of story,
how well crafted a lot of that is too. It's the biggest thing to me is this game has voice acting. And it doesn't feel like a game that would have voice acting. I don't think it necessarily needs voice acting, but I think the voice acting adds so much to it, and it's pretty good voice acting as well.
I think and I don't mean this like in a disparaging way, but it feels to me like this is maybe some of Luckshot Games. I think his name's Chris that has that, the developer. I think it's probably just him and some of his friends. Like, hey, I got a cool thing I'm working. Would you come in and help me?
More than that, they have some actual names.
Do they really?
Yeah, I believe the voice actor who played Caspar in Fire Emblem Three Houses, the guy with
Yeah.
blue hair.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he is I think he's the purple guy who's the antagonist guy.
Oh, yeah. Doom, right? Or not Doom, but
I forgot his name.
it's I yes.
I
Continue,
was
but
I was just talking to him an hour ago, and I cannot remember his name. But yes, but they did get some real ass voice actors who voice act anime and cartoons and video games. So it's not just somebody's friends. It's some real deal stuff, and it's pretty impressive, honestly. Um,
Dis.
uh, Dis, that's his name. Thank you.
Dis. Yep.
Um, but I've also been really enjoying the backpack system, the trinket system, where
I
you're
love putting those on there.
it's a lot of fun. So you're going and finding these dark drips, which are just little purple balls that are hanging around the world. It has a sort of crackdown feel where it's like the ability orb is like, oh, I think I can get over there and grab one of those. But it's also a little bit like Mario coins where you're just collecting them to collect them, and sometimes they'll take you to interesting places. But the little badges that you get, the perks basically that you get from collecting those, have been really interesting, and they've given. I don't know if they give you them in the same order or if they're completely randomized. I think that
They're,
first one.
the first one is, but they're randomized later on.
Okay, because I know that first one was like a choice between sliding longer or oh, I forgot the other one, but we both picked the sliding longer one, if I
I didn't.
remember.
My first one.
Oh, what was yours?
Um, I think the first one I got actually was invincibility.
Oh,
So,
that's right. Yes, that was the other one. It was
but
invincibility, but it takes up all your slots.
yeah, it's the only one you can have
Or
on.
right, or the other one was slide longer.
And at the
And I
time, I
ended up
did.
choosing the slide longer.
Yeah, well, yeah, I ended up getting that one, which is very good. But at the time of the game, I was just like, maybe this is going to be a harder game. Like being invincible might not be a bad thing to have for whatever reason. So I'm going to grab this because it feels like a really overpowered thing to have.
Sure.
And I've not used it once, but I have it.
Did invincibility affect your like when you fall off the edge of something? Do you not take damage from that?
I don't. I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
Because I was using it more for combat, but most of my health, like I've taken damage pretty much just from falling. Like that's really where I've had my struggles.
Yeah, the two I've had are falling or fire damage, and the
Yep.
fire damage just comes from the chili peppers that you can throw around. But also eating the chili peppers heals you, so
And there's a badge
health has
that
not been an issue for me.
basically says, "Hey, you don't take fire damage anymore." Like I have that badge too. So
Yeah, I passed that one up because the other one was your climb stamina was lengthened, and I went, I'm always going to pick the climb stamina one. That's
I don't
just
feel
so
like
good.
that one does a whole lot.
It doesn't feel like it does much, but
It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have that one as well.
It's just been generally a very delightful game. I think it's really thoughtful, not only in the character movement, not only in the story stuff that we talked about, but in the level design as well. I think they're just offering interesting puzzles to you. There are a couple of things that annoy me. You know, the little like apple things that feel like they're flying, and you're supposed to latch onto them and
Yep.
kind of like swing on
Yep.
them. I have not found the physics of those to work well,
Totally.
in my opinion. The best I can usually do is try to helicopter from side to side until I can bring up enough momentum to throw myself that way. But for the most part, those don't feel like they.
You know what the
they
biggest crime
should.
is?
What's that?
The biggest crime of big hops is you've got the double jump, but you don't have the triple jump from Mario 64.
I do wish it had a triple jump.
And I've tried to do that, and it doesn't, like, it should not be for anything in the game other than a soundbite and a dumb thing that you do when you're just running through, like exactly how Mario 64 was.
So you're right, but at the same time, this game kind of has its own equivalent where it's not the triple jump, but if you're just running across a vast area, the thing you should be doing every time is jumping and then diving and going into a slide and then immediately jumping out of it and immediately diving back into it
Yep.
to pick up even more momentum. And the way that you can sled across big vast spaces in no time is something that Mario could only dream of. And so part of me is like, I don't need the triple jump. It'd be really cool if it had it, but at
Oh
the
yeah.
same time, I think they've built in a system of speed and momentum that almost has like a Sonic the Hedgehog feel to it sometimes of I'm just speeding through some of these spaces. I don't think the level design really requires that all that often, but the times that it does are pretty cool. The game also has like a system where you can somersault and then jump, and if you somersaulted and then jump, you jump a much further distance. There's also wall running and stuff like that. I think I actually just went through. I went back and found an old challenge room I hadn't done before that was all about wall running, and so I was doing that quite a bit and having a pretty good time with it. There's are definitely some annoyances. I think the camera is a little rough sometimes, and some of those mechanics just don't feel quite as good as they should. Like I mentioned with the swinging on those aerial things that you can have on. Have you gotten to the goo balls yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I fucking hate those goo balls.
The goo balls are no good. You
Yeah,
you you said something. I don't want to get too far what you just said a minute ago.
sure.
You were talking about Sonic, and that made me think about another thing. And this big hops led me back down this rabbit hole. So I think we covered this game, and I think that you were excited about this game on a monthly preview. Does the name Haste stand out to you?
No, I don't think so.
This is playing Big Hops has made me want to go and play this game. I know people really like it. This is the game that basically is like what Big Hops is for Mario. This is for Sonic. And
Oh, this looks a little familiar now that I'm seeing screenshots.
but I think it's very good from what I hear, and I'm strongly considering giving that one a go. I know you're the big Sonic guy, but this is again, it feels like a love letter to like I guarantee you this dude grew up playing Mario like
Sure,
a lot,
sure.
and I just yeah
The indie Sonic game out there that the one I have played and think is pretty cool is Spark the Electric Jester. They've
oh
there's
yeah
3 of those out there right now, and I think maybe the second one's the best one from everything that I've heard. But those games are also really cool and all about speed, and
got to go fast,
those are
baby.
doing some really interesting things. But anyway, Big Hops has been I wouldn't call it a surprise for me because every time we looked at it, like that looks awesome,
Yeah,
and so far it just has been, and I'm just really impressed with it. Even the times where I can see the rough edges, for the most part, I'm just having a really good time, and part
whatever
of me wants to savor it, but the other part of me wants to just get it all done now.
whatever it has in roughness, it is completely outweighed in its charm and
Yeah.
delivery. And
And they
I
just
think
kind of keep finding ways of adding new mechanics in. I got a camera recently that I can
camera's
take
fun.
photos of things now, and that was cool. So I'm at the point where I'm just finishing up the Duster Bluffs area. So
Yeah,
the second real area you go to, and apparently I'm going to go to Junktown next.
Junktown's
And
cool.
okay, so you're still a little further ahead of me at this point, but I've seen how long have you seen this game be? Like I don't know, like 6 to 8,
Six to
something
eight
like that.
hours is yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I
think
feel like I've put about that much time into it already. But I'm also just exploring and experimenting and having a good time, just jumping around. That I have not been progressing things as fast as I probably should.
I would have been completely cool with a 4 to 5 hour game here. I think,
Totally. I
but
would like my games to be shorter, just all the
yeah,
time. Every game at this point, I would rather be shorter. I'd like to finish more stuff. I feel bad when I leave a game half finished and walk away to something else, and it happens more and more often it seems these days. But
that's the casual hour
I think
promise, baby.
but I think that's also on developers, right?
Yeah,
Who want to try to get bang for their buck. You want to be able to say, look at all the content that's in here. You certainly can't ding us on this not having enough content. And some people really care about that. Some people who buy their 2 to 4 video games a year go, I need this to stretch. I need to be able to play this a lot. And I understand that feeling, but I think the games are just better when you're able to show a proof of concept, build on that proof of concept a little bit, and then get the hell out of there. Like
Mhm.
if you really need to expand on it, make a sequel at that point. That's my thought. I think that gets you more interesting games at a faster pace that people actually finish, and I think that would be better
I,
all around for the industry. But yeah, I understand that's not the case when you have live
this
service games out there and gotcha games out there that go, what if you just played one game forever and it's me?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing right now, dude. Like, Arknights, I know, has a shelf life for me. There's going to be a point where the balance is going to be wacky between my threshold of tolerance for what this game is asking of me, and then this game's putting up with me asking it to be a certain thing that it doesn't want to be desperately. And I'll move on to the next thing. But I will tell you,
But that's your personal threshold because the game will always have more content for you, unless it's one of those games that dies. But I don't think this one's going to die anytime soon.
not
That
anytime
is you
soon.
having to make a personal choice of going, I am done with this video game, but it's
Yeah.
not necessary that that video game is done with you.
Yeah, like I've got a lot of things I'm juggling right now. I'm going to backlog some of them. I might abandon some of them completely, but February is shaping up. We're going to talk about it next week. It's going to be a big month. There's some cool things I'm excited for. March, even more so now. And April already has like a game that I'm probably like on my March and April both have games I've been looking forward to for a while. So what I'm getting at is, yes, we need those games to be a bit tighter where they need to be, because I personally feel this year is going to be at least for Bobby, a year full of things that I'm very excited about. I know there's a Fire Emblem game this year for you. I'm super excited about Fable when that comes out. Like, there are a lot of things on the horizon in 2026 that are going to demand a lot of our attention and time if we have it to give to them. And I want to make sure I don't get off to a bad start in January. And I've done really good about like taking notes actively when I'm playing games, which was kind of a unspoken commitment I made at the beginning of this year. Like, I wanted to be better at journaling my experiences. And I'm just having a lot of fun. Like, the games are already, like, I've played a bunch of stuff in January that I think is just really cool. And tomorrow or tonight at midnight, maybe even, Karen will be out. And I'm really excited to dig in. We're going to stream that on Monday. So a lot of cool shit, man. And the games continue to find ways to help you and I stay, I'll say, sane to a degree. Like,
Sure.
as we're hitting our credits again, like we kind of signed off on Monday with this, so I'm going to continue doing it. Like, thank you for letting us be a distraction if we are that for you. Like, there's a lot of things out there that are really difficult to look at right now. And we make a lot of noise about when video games disappoint us or excite us. And we're very passionate about what's happening here. There's certainly things that probably deserve our passion way more than this, but this is something that has been a steady in my life that helps me feel normal in times where I don't, and desperately things don't want me to feel normal. And thank you for letting this be a distraction every week to just stop looking at the ugliness happening out there. And there's a lot of ways that you can get more involved. And I'm not telling you to not pay attention, and I'm not telling you not to do shit, but it's nice to have a thing every week that makes me happy. I'll say that much.
Yeah, like that balance is really important. Just the only way that you can go out there and keep fighting is if you know that you can come back and rest and recharge up. And
Totally.
games can be that for people, and it's nice when they are, and it's nice when we're able to get that time. So totally understand a lot of stuff going on these days, both politically, but also meteorologically. You
Yeah.
know, we got a foot of snow here in St. Louis, and it's only just now starting to kind of melt, and it's kept me stuck in this house for a handful of days now. And what else do you do but play video games and watch YouTube at some point?
It's yeah, I mean, I have not left the house for a while at the time of this recording.
Yeah,
I'm very thankful. Like, I'm not upset. Like, I have everything here to keep me happy.
Totally.
I'm good. But yeah, it's just been that season, man. Like, work, all this shit, everything going on. But I'm excited about a lot of stuff that you and I've got planned here. Next week will be a lot of fun with a new game on Monday, and then let me get us over to credits actually, and we can
Let's do
talk
it. Yeah.
talk more about that. So another game that we didn't talk tonight, maybe I'll try and sneak this in next week. I'll probably talk about Karen, but Aethermancer. I showed this to you after we pivoted off of High Guard. This came out last year in early access, but I'm playing it this year. This is a creature collecting roguelike, pretty dense, but I think cool. I think it's pretty cool actually.
It had some really interesting ideas for sure.
Yeah. So going to continue to see like what's going on with that, I think, but you can go and watch and make a conclusion for yourself based on what we streamed on Monday night. And then tonight, of course, was a what you've been playing. Next week will be a new game on Monday and our February games preview, where we will watch trailers with no audio and talk over them and tell you about games, where they're going to be, what they're about, how we feel about them. So you should tune in, check that out. That'll be on Wednesday of next week, but you can follow along with all of our fun stuff there on social. We are live Monday and Wednesday. We have our audio only on Friday. We've got 10 years worth of content that you can go back and watch if you want to. We would love to have you hang out with us if you feel compelled. But Chase has other things that you can do as well if you have not had your fill after 10 years. Chase, what can the fine folks find you doing?
I've got a YouTube channel, Chasing Gay Plays, where I'm currently playing through Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. A new episode went out today, so you can go check that out. I'm finishing up Korriban, and I'm just ready to go to our next planet, which is going to end up being Kashyyyk. So very exciting stuff there. And then there's a new pilot program recording tomorrow. Fingers crossed, as long as my co-host is up to do that. But we will be recording a show about the Golden Girls, because that's what we do here. We watch the first episode of every television show ever made, and it was time to watch the Golden Girls. So I had a good time watching that show, and or watching that pilot anyway. And I look forward to talking to my co-host Pierce about it and about his experience as well. So go check those things out.
That's awesome. Well, Chase, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for just a good excuse to see a friend and talk about cool shit. I hope you're doing well. I hope you listening to us are doing well. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people. Play something new. And we'll see you next week.